You want to see,
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Sunday night call with Coach Greg. And for those of you who are joining us for the first time, we have decided to do a series of Greg Loveless stories from the book that he is currently writing that will be published hopefully very soon, so that you can have these stories to reference quite often. But we wanted to get them recorded in the hopes of helping you to move your businesses forward in a much bigger way, because stories, we remember stories so well. And so last week we started with our first one, which was Start Swinging. And if you haven't listened to that one, it is recorded on the Massive Momentum Nation page. And tonight's topic is going to be Start Swing, or what is it? I wrote it down here. Oh, Start Swinging with Your Regular Swing. And this is October 21st, so I should probably say that so that we know what the date is. But I'm going to have Greg go ahead and take it away. And so Greg, go take it away. I'm going to mute myself.
Okay, as Linda said, last week we dealt with the topic of Start Swinging, and Anna was the perfect example of Start Swinging. This week we're doing Start Swinging with Your Regular Swing, and the person that best exhibits that is Shannon. I first met Shannon when she showed up for her first lesson, and as I do with all my first lessons, I asked her information about what she was doing and why she wanted the lesson. And what she described was she was batting in the 3 spot on an elite team, and she had been moved to the 9th spot because she went 1 for 20 over the weekend. She had gotten my name from one of her teammates who took lessons from me. Once I had that information, I took her into the tunnel, the hitting tunnel, and set up a tee, put a ball on the tee, and told her it was time to start swinging. She stepped up to the tee, she got ready to swing, then she backed up and she said, "You want me to swing?" I said, "Yeah, Shannon, I want you to swing." She stepped back up, got ready to swing, and then backed up again and said, "You want me to swing with my regular swing?" I said, "Yes, Shannon, I want you to swing with your regular swing." She stepped back up, got ready to swing again, and then she backed up and she said, "But I thought you would tell me how to swing." I said, "Shannon, it doesn't work like that. I'm not going to pray over you and you're going to have a good swing. I'm not going to say magical words and you're going to have a good swing. The only way you're going to get a good swing is to start swinging with your regular swing. Then I'm going to adjust you and eventually you'll get a better swing." It was at that point that I discovered in our conversation that she had not only been moved to the 9th spot, which was somewhat humiliating, but her dad had stopped coming to her games because he was so frustrated. She had called on her own, driven herself over on her own, and she said, "Coach, I only have enough babysitting money for 1 lesson." I said, "Shannon, here's the deal I'll strike with you. If you start swinging with your regular swing and you do everything I ask you to do, if we come up a little bit short at the end of the lesson, I'll give you next week's lesson for free." So Shannon started swinging. When we got done with the lesson, we had about 80% of it fixed. So I took her downstairs to the front desk, signed her up for a free lesson the following Tuesday, and told her to let me know how she did over the weekend tournament. When she showed up on Tuesday, she had her dad with her. She said, "Coach, I hit 400 and my coach put me back in the 3 spot. And the best part is my dad's coming to my games again. What Shannon exhibits is something that all of us do when we start something new, whether it's a new project or a new business. We want to make sure we get it right. So we read, we go to meetings, we go to training conferences to make sure we get started on the right foot. But what we're really doing is we're in the activity of preparing. We're not in the activity of doing our business. And if we wait for a perfect swing, we'll never get started. We need to start swinging with our regular swing. How does that apply to Arbonne? Some of you are waiting to go to a meeting before you make that first call. Some of you are waiting to go to a training conference before you send out a text or an email. Some of you are waiting to read a book before you reach out on social media. And what you're doing is you're in the activity of preparation, not in the activity of doing the business. And with that, I'll hand it back over to Linda.
Okay, so that's a powerful short story about how many times do we fear getting started? You know, we'll go to an event and we'll get pumped up and motivated and excited, and we've got these great plans to go out and, you know, build to the next level, and then fear steps in and we don't swing, we don't do it for what, you know, whatever the mind chatter is. And so this is just such a powerful story, you know, that you're not alone in that, and understanding that you're not alone in that anything worthwhile is worth pushing through and stepping through, but you've just got to get started. And so I love this story because it's just, you know, just get started, and not, you know, and then we can, last week it was, you know, swing, and then we know what to help you adjust in the process. So if anybody has any questions around this or comments, go ahead and put it in the chat box there. If you have any questions of Greg or myself, we can answer those questions. I can actually pull you on as a panelist as well. If you would like to verbally ask a question, you can just raise your hand. Anybody out there? Greg, do you have anything else to share around that? Just noticing how business and how we play the game in sports?
Well, what I noticed with my players is they so much wanted to succeed that they wanted to be perfect, and as a result, they never got started because they were afraid to make a mistake. The players who were the best were the ones who would take a chance, who would take a risk. There's a saying in baseball, you can't steal second until you take your foot off of first base, meaning you have to put yourself at risk in order to gain something new. And Leo Durocher says, if you show me a player who wants to play it safe, I'll show you a player who's still in the minor leagues. So there's a risk that's involved with greatness, and that risk involves taking a chance and sometimes failing. But you have to start with your regular swing and then move from there, not wait for the perfect swing. Otherwise, you'll never get started.
So the greats, you know, the greats started somewhere in fear with their regular swing. They just got started. And then from just getting started, you know, they, first of all, I think the bigger picture is they had a vision of where they wanted to be. And if you don't have a vision, you're not going to step in and swing. I mean, what's the purpose? What is moving you forward? And so, you know, what was her bigger vision? I mean, she spent her babysitting money to do this. So what was her bigger vision? Why did she show up? How she overcame the obstacle by using her own money.
Are you asking me?
Yes.
She wanted a scholarship. She was on an elite team. The only reason she was on that team was to get a scholarship. And if she had already sent letters out to college coaches, and if the college coach shows up and sees her batting in the 9th spot, there goes her scholarship. So she's willing to spend her own babysitting money to get back to where she needs to be to have a chance to get a scholarship, which is her dream.
So she had a bigger vision, bigger reason why she was there. And she took the risk, even though she didn't have the money to do it. She had obstacles that she had to overcome at her young age, but she did it anyway.
Yeah, she took the first step. That's the key. Yeah. She called on her own. She drove herself on her own. She paid for it on her own. She wanted to get everything fixed in one lesson. That wasn't possible to do. But the fact that she showed up, even though she didn't get everything fixed in the first lesson, she got enough fixed that she got back into the 3 spot.
So just applying this, you know, every one of you on here listening to this know where you are or aren't in your business, and what are you willing to do to step in and, you know, and do your regular swing, be who you are, make that first step, and then in doing that, moving closer to that bigger dream. But knowing what that bigger dream is, and it doesn't have to be a grandiose, you know, I think so many times we think we have to have this huge vision in order, you know, in order to move forward. It may be just a small, I mean, my first reason that I started this business was to put food on the table for my family. And that was big. It seems maybe small to some people, you know, whatever their vision might be, everybody's a little bit different, but finding something that is going to cause you to move forward. So anyway, so Greg, can you tell us what they can look forward to next week?
Well, when we start swinging and we make adjustments, and we start swinging with our regular swing and make adjustments, there's data that comes back. Every swing has data in it. Every pitch has data in it. And what we do sometimes is we take that data and beat ourselves up with it, when in reality what we need to do is take the data, make an adjustment in the present, and that will allow us to change our future. And so next week's story that illustrates that is the story of Shelby.
Awesome. Well, I know these are short and sweet. We allotted about a half hour to do these, so that if you had some questions, you know, of Coach Greg, even if you don't have them now and you would like to ask questions, you can put them in the chat or in the thread when I post the recording on our Nation page. But hopefully these can just help you stay focused on where you're headed within your business, because stories a lot of times resonate with us and we remember them. And so hopefully these will help keep you focused. And thank you, Greg, for your time to pour into all of us. And stay tuned for the next story. And next week, same time, same place. And the data changes the future will be the next one. So thank you all for showing up this evening, and make it an incredible week. We are getting close to month end. And so let's stay focused on what our goals and dreams are to finish strong in October. And we'll see you next week. Thanks, Greg.